All right, welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, your weekly upgrade on everything that matters. This week, we are diving deep. We've got a billion-dollar handshake between two tech giants that's going to change everything. We're also going to talk about that Wi-Fi router in your house. Could it be a hidden threat? And stick around to see how robots might just be back in your next grocery bag. Let's do this. So here's what's on the menu today. We're kicking things off with the huge new AI team-up that has everyone talking. Then we're going to get serious for a minute and look at a security alert about your home router. From there, we'll lighten things up with some really cool new features for your phone and apps. And finally, we'll take a peek at the future of your weekly grocery run. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's jump right into our first big story. And honestly, this one is a bombshell. It's all about a deal that really shows you just how intense this AI arms race has become. Apple, Apple, is teaming up with its biggest rival, Google, to give its own AI a massive boost.
So, what's the price tag for a partnership like this? How about a cool $1 billion? And that's not a one-time thing, that's per year. That's what Apple is reportedly paying to get a special, souped-up version of Google's Gemini AI. This thing is set to become the new powerhouse behind Apple Intelligence, and you know it, Siri.
And this is where it gets really interesting because you can see the sheer difference in power here. Apple's own AI model, it's no slouch with about 150 billion parameters, but this custom Gemini model from Google, whoa. We're talking 1.2 trillion parameters. Now, to put that in simple terms, think of parameters like the neurons in a brain. More parameters generally means a smarter, more capable AI. So what Apple's doing here is pretty smart. They're basically renting Google's superbrain for the really tough stuff, like summarizing long articles or planning your day, all while they keep working on their own tech behind the scenes. And you know, this whole AI race isn't just happening in fancy corporate boardrooms. Nope, it's actually showing up in the tools and apps that you and I can use right now. Just look at this, OpenAI's Sora 2. You know, that crazy AI video generator that blew everyone's mind? It's now on Android. If you're in places like the US or Canada, the waitlist is even gone in some spots. This is a huge deal. It means millions of people can now create these hyper-realistic videos just by typing a few words. It's like having a Hollywood VFX team right in your pocket. Pretty wild, right? Okay, so AI is definitely building the world of tomorrow. But let's take a step back and talk about securing the tech we're all using today. And we're going to start with a little box that's in almost every home, but often gets totally ignored, your Wi-Fi router. And yeah, that's a pretty intense question up on the screen, but it's one that's being taken very seriously at the highest levels. We're talking multiple US government agencies, defense, justice, you name it, reportedly pushing to ban TP-Link. And TP-Link is one of the biggest router brands in the world. The concern? Alleged connections to Chinese cyber attacks. And listen, this isn't just some rumor floating around. This is a direct, stark warning from a former top cybersecurity director at the NSA. He's basically saying, hey, we need to replace these things before they get used against us. That's pretty heavy, especially for a device that's in millions and millions of homes. But, and this is a big but, the story isn't quite that simple. If you actually look at the data, the official government list of vulnerabilities that have been actively exploited by hackers, well, TP-Link has way fewer issues listed than some of its big competitors like D-Link or Netgear. And TP-Link themselves are pushing back, saying they have no ties to the Chinese government and that their US products are mostly made in Vietnam. So it really just goes to show you that figuring out what's truly a risk can be complicated.
So here's the bottom line, and this is super important. No matter what brand of router you've got sitting in your living room, your security really starts with you. There are 3 easy things you can do. 1, keep that firmware updated. That's how the companies fix security flaws. 2, please change the default admin password. That's like leaving your front door wide open. And 3, if you want to add another strong layer of security, think about using a VPN. It encrypts your traffic and keeps prying eyes out.
All right, your router isn't the only weak spot in your digital life. The threat can also come from the software we download every single day, right onto our phones. Just look at that number for a second, 42 million. That's how many times more than 239 shady, malicious apps were downloaded from the official Google Play Store. And that's just in the last year. That's according to a pretty scary report from Zscaler.
And you gotta ask, what's actually hiding inside these apps? Well, I can tell you it's not just annoying ads. We're talking about some seriously nasty stuff. Spyware that watches everything you do, banking Trojans that are built to steal your login info, and clever phishing tools that try to trick you into just handing over your passwords. It's no joke.
So, what can you actually do about it? Well, a few things.
First, before you hit that download button, always check who made the app. Are they legit? Second, be a gatekeeper with permissions. Think about it. Does a simple calculator app really need access to your camera and contacts? Probably not. Third, keep an eye out for red flags. If your phone suddenly starts dying super fast after you installed a new app, that's a bad sign. And lastly, it's not a bad idea to have a good mobile antivirus app on your phone, just as a safety net.
Okay, enough of the scary stuff. Let's shift gears and talk about some of the fun stuff. Some cool, practical upgrades you can actually use today to make your tech life just a little bit better. First up, for all you iPhone folks out there, the latest beta for iOS 26.2 has some really neat little features. A few that I think are awesome. There's a new liquid glass slider to make your lock screen clock see-through, which is pretty slick. In the Reminders app, you can now set a reminder as urgent and it'll trigger a full-on alarm. And there's a cool accessibility feature that can flash your whole screen for alerts. Just small things, you know, but they can make a real difference.
Okay, here's a quick tip, a little life hack that I bet a lot of you don't know about. You know Shazam, right? Well, if you go into the settings and connect it to your Spotify or Apple Music, you can flip a switch that automatically saves every song you Shazam to a playlist. It's called My Shazam Tracks. It's awesome. No more hearing a great song and then totally forgetting what it was.
And hey, this next one's for all the parents out there. Discord just pushed a huge update to its Family Center. You can now get a weekly summary of what your teen is spending money on, see how much time they're on voice calls, and even see who they're talking to the most, like the top 5 users and servers. It's a big step in giving parents more insight and, a little more peace of mind.
All right, for our last story today, we're actually going grocery shopping. Or at least, we're talking about it. Amazon is trying something really, really interesting at a Whole Foods out in Pennsylvania, and it honestly might change the way we all shop for food.
So check this out. They've built what they're calling a micro-fulfillment center right inside the store. Just picture a small, super automated warehouse staffed by robots. But here's the twist. It's not for kale and quinoa. It's for all that other stuff you'd normally buy on Amazon.com.
And this is where it gets really clever. As you're walking through the aisles grabbing your usual Whole Foods stuff, you can scan QR codes to order, say, Kraft mac and cheese or goldfish crackers from that robot warehouse in the back. Then, when you're done shopping and head to the checkout, your other order is waiting for you right there at the front. It's a brilliant way for Whole Foods to sell you everything without having to actually put it on their shelves and mess with their all-organic vibe. And that really brings us full circle to the big question this week, doesn't it? From these massive billion-dollar AI deals to robots packing our groceries, there's no doubt our world is getting way smarter and a whole lot more convenient. But as we're sprinting into this future, are we actually paying enough attention to making it safer? It's the big trade-off in tech right now, and it's something we all need to be thinking about. And that's our show for this week. If you enjoyed this deep dive, do us a favor and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss our next weekly upgrade. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech, and we'll see you next time.